Hello, this is the Provoked Prawn, and this is Cuisine Royale. This is tips and tricks video part 3, the third in a series, which you can find the rest of in the description below, and I'll also add them into a playlist alongside a series of shorter videos that cover various different tips and tricks on playing the game. Now this is intended as a selection of different tips for people that are just starting out or have been playing for a while with things that you might not know. Starting with the MG42. Now this is one of the best guns in the game, but it is a bit of a pain because it's quite heavy to use. If you're trying to run around with it, you can't, so I'd recommend putting it away and using your other weapons in the meantime. You'll find running with a pistol or a pan makes you faster. Also, using the MG42, you'll need to lay down to be the most accurate, otherwise you'll find it just sprays all over the place. Unfortunately, you can't put it on single shot, so you need to make sure you're laying down. Another tip is to use the eagle eye glasses. If you find those, they actually make you more accurate with semi-auto machine guns or light machine guns or heavy machine guns. Another tip is to use cover as often as possible. Get behind walls and get the edge on the enemy. This guy didn't even notice me because I was behind that wall, which is pretty unobservant of him. It's not always the case though. Playing in third person means that you basically got an even playing ground because that guy saw me there, but he still managed to quickly get the edge on him. He panicked and changed weapon. Now the other tip is to always look up high. Make sure you check the roofs of buildings because enemies like to go up there. If you've got bunny slippers, it's easy to get up there, but I showed in the previous video you can also climb up there quite easily by following the drain pipes and the windows. So always look up high and check. The water towers are also worth checking. This tower here has a baddie in it. He took a pot shot at us. Now, these are interesting because you can't shoot through the grating on the bottom. You can't shoot through underneath. You'll notice here there's no hit register at all. Bullets just won't go through. Now, that's an advantage for him. However, there is a disadvantage because he's now up there and it's going to be difficult for him to get down without being seen. Another pro tip here is if you are up one of those towers, if you have the bunny slippers equipped, you can actually jump down and take no fall damage. You might know that the bunny slippers help you to bounce and jump on top of buildings and whatever else, but did you know that you can actually get no fall damage using them? It's pretty cool, and I'll show you that later on with the jetpack. It's worth bearing in mind because it means you can go up things like the towers and then you can jump down quickly to get out of danger. Going up those towers is otherwise pretty dodgy, as if you try to jump down you'll hurt yourself, and trying to climb down the ladder in the middle of a battle is not good. Another tip is to use the brown note ritual in a different way to what I showed in the previous video. This brown note activates the toilets as teleportation portals, but it also activates this sound, the music sound playing, that can work as a distraction. You can use that as a distraction for the enemies because they'll look towards the toilet and be confused by the noise, or it will just drown out the sound of you approaching so you can get a bead on them. Now, distraction is quite a good way to play. Here's another example where I'm calling in an orbital fridge. The orbital fridge makes a lot of noise, as you'll have seen from another video I did on this. Now, you can call in that orbital fridge once you've got the flare gun that you need to unlock, but doing this obviously calls in a very noisy fridge, which then attracts a lot of attention. There was already a lot of battles going on in this area. You could hear a lot of gunfire, so I knew it was going to be dangerous calling in the fridge, but I thought it might be worth trying anyway because it could work as a good distraction and potential for us to get extra kills. This is a full squad game. There's only 3 of us playing in our squad, so I knew it was going to be dangerous because we could end up facing off against multiple squads. So go into the fridge, looting out the jetpack and the AK, and then moving off. Now you'll have noticed when I landed with the jetpack I actually took quite a bit of damage. That was because I didn't have the bunny slippers on. This red fridge, however, does have the bunny slippers in it, so you could use those to then ensure that I didn't get damaged in future. It's also worth noting the jetpack takes up one of your slots for the boost, so you can't use that. Now you'll see, as I said, the orbital fridge is quite an attraction for people because of the smoke coming out of it, so I'm now way off from it and shooting at the people trying to loot it. There isn't actually anything left of interest in there, so they're wasting their time really, but it gives the opportunity to shoot back and maybe get some more cheeky kills, so it's worth a little go. The jetpack does have limited fuel as well, it's worth noting, but it is good for getting out of trouble. Here you can see I'm using it to basically get across the entire airfield and out of the way of danger. Jetpack's a lot of fun to use. It's a shame it's not more easily accessible. You can't get it every time from the orbital fridge. It's not guaranteed. Now my next tip would be use your surroundings to avoid enemies. Don't be afraid of backing off from a fight to take the advantage to yourself. So here there's an enemy down in the field, I've got no cover whatsoever. So go crawling and get up behind cover so you can't see me, and then into the building. And I use the windows as my point to shoot from, and that gave me a bit more protection because you can lean from the walls and shoot back. He still manages to get a couple of hits on me though. And once I lost sight of him in the bushes, I decided it might be a good idea to get back outside, sneak up and hide behind this tree. Hiding here obviously keeps me out of sight if they're coming up, but it also gives me some cover to shoot them when they do. And here he comes. Bang, bang, bang. Enemy dead. Now his mate is on the right hand side. And take him out as well. Quick note to shoot the gravestones to get the extra points. Now the next one is to use whatever you can as cover. I mentioned using walls before. You can also use vehicles. Vehicles are interesting at the moment because they deflect bullets essentially, but also if you see a vehicle with a roof on it, then that can be useful in other ways. So over here I saw there was an enemy as I was trying to drive out of the blue zone. And so I jumped out of the car a bit early and tried to use the car as cover. Now, as I was saying, if you see a car with a roof on it, you can't shoot through the windows, which is interesting. You can use that to your advantage. So I saw an enemy use a car, and that way he parked up behind it and then was hiding behind it. Now, in fact, I could see him through the windows. Whenever I tried to shoot through the windows, I couldn't get a hit on him. There was no register at all, so that was quite frustrating. It's worth bearing in mind. Using cover also pays off if you're trying to sneak up on enemies. Now, you'll notice here in a minute that I managed to get the upper hand. This is right near the end of the game. Now another thing that I recommended in one of my previous tips videos was to avoid using back armor and bottom armor. The bottom armor level, anything above level 1 makes a noise, so the level 2 and level 3 bottom armor will make a rattling sound as you're moving around. That rattle is a dead giveaway. If you're trying to sneak up on someone, you will be heard, and you can see that in action in a couple of places in this video where enemies are moving around and I hear them because they're making so many rattling noises with their armor. And it gives you the advantage because here, for example, I'm trying to back away from a guy that's in the middle and he's trying to flank me on the left, and I heard him, which meant I could get the upper hand and kill him and win the game. So that noise that you get from armour makes a big difference. That's why I tend to avoid using the bunny slippers as much as possible, because they make such a lot of noise. Now another tip is to use the traps to your advantage. I saw earlier on I was using the brown note to cover the sound of my movement, and in this instance I'm using the zombie trap. Now I use this a couple of times in different ways in this video, but basically I've seen that the circle is quite small and it's basically going to shrink around this sandbag zone. So I put a number of different zombie traps out in the trench line along there in the hope that enemies would come up there and end up getting surrounded by zombies, and that is quite pleasingly exactly what happened. A couple of people in Duo Team come up that trench line and then find themselves having to fight zombies. You can just see them in the distance over there. Nice. And they then actually have to get forced out of the trenches. They didn't set off all the traps, but enough to send a couple of zombies chasing after their brains. Also presents a bit of a problem for me in a minute when I have to get on top of the roof. Now it's worth noting, zombies can swim, they can smash through doors, they can follow you across the map. They cannot climb unless you activate a lot of them accidentally. Now, this is another end to the game. This guy is inside the building. So again, putting down zombie traps outside on the area where he might come out in preparation for his exit. It's just me versus him, and it's the end of the game. You can see the blue circle is getting very small. Another tip here is this guy is upstairs. Now, at the end of the game, the circle becomes a sphere, and it shrinks down from the sides and also from the top. So it's getting smaller and smaller, so you need to be on the ground floor if you want to win, not on the top floor. If you're in the loft and you find yourself stuck in the loft, then you're in trouble because you won't be able to get down easily and you need to get to the bottom floor. You will lose if you try and hide in the loft or even on the floors above. In this instance, the chap is hiding up there and I'm putting down zombie traps below, and the zombies are trying to go up the stairs to get him. You do have to be careful with the zombie traps, of course, because I accidentally managed to set them off and have to fight the zombies myself. However, it's a good distraction because he's now got more than one threat to deal with, as well as trying to work out how he's going to get through the blue, because the blue is now pushed through the windows as well, so it's going to be really tough for him to get down the stairs or out the window. There's no obvious way for him to get out. This is a great way to use the blue to your advantage. Also, if you can get low down and prone in that sort of position, then you have the advantage as well. I actually won a game with someone where they were on the other side of a wall, and I would just lay down until they died to the blue. So here we go, he's just died to the blue, and I get a victory. This has been the Provoked Prawn. Hope you found these tips useful enough to subscribe and like the video, and give me a comment if you have any questions or if there's anything you'd like to see. Don't forget to check out the other videos in the description. Thanks for watching.